still reeling after that loss on Sunday night. I went to the game and it was bad enough the weather, but then to sit through all that and have your team lose, not even score a touchdown, it's heart-wrenching. And then Jay Cutler gets a concussion. It's awful.
You had an angry Texans team. You lose your quarterback, and, I mean, that's the kind of thing that's going to end up happening.
Well, let's ask Mike North, the sports expert. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, what's going on, guys? What's up, Ames?
Well, I wanted to ask you, when will Jay Cutler be returning to the game?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. The second-string quarterback now, or the backup, if you will, is more important than he ever was before. I mean, we saw what happened last year when Cutler got hurt, and we had Caleb Haney. So if he doesn't come back in a week, if he misses a game, hopefully Jason Campbell, who's got a starter's record of 31-38 in his career, will put something together and they can get by a game. He'll probably maybe be back Sunday, but I would say it might be a missed Sunday game, and then the next week he's back. But either way, they got to get better production out of their number 2 quarterback, which they haven't had in the past 2 years.
What are the NFL rules as far as the concussion goes?
The NFL rules are, if you can get away with it, he'll be back in a week. But they have an independent now doctor, aside from the team doctor, and they work for the National Football League, and that independent doctor will give him the okay if indeed he's going to play. A team doctor cannot do it. The league cannot mandate it until an independent doctor checks him out.
But Jay played 7 other plays after he took that hit.
Lovie Smith is saying he would never put a player at risk, but if Jay Cutler tells him, we're all right, and if the preliminary test done by the trainers, seems to be okay, then they may try to do it. I think there's a gray area here that people got to take a look at, including Lovie Smith. I think maybe the league's got to figure out a way to not let a player back in no matter what if they're going to play this safety issue up the way they are until, maybe sits out the rest of the game. But it isn't fair to a team if their quarterback gets hurt, gets dinged up for a second, and then he can do his ABCs. He can count from 100 backwards, and you know what? It's not fair to them either. So there's a gray area with that situation.
Well, let's talk about the play itself. I was at the game, and Tim Dobbins seemed to hit him. Was that a fair call?
Yes, it was, because he was over the line.
Charge him with a crime?
He was over the line. When he threw the football, or the appearance looked like he was over the line. So then he becomes a runner. It looked like he got it right underneath between, the chest and the chin. But, I mean, part of that helmet hit him. But it's just such a physical game. And to ask players not to hit helmets or head-to-head at times it is a very hard thing to do. And it seemed like, to me, it was okay.
Well, that's certainly taken a lot away from the game. I mean, you can see plays where, a few years ago, the quarterback would have just been crushed, where players are holding back, and it really does change and affect the outcome of games anymore.
Absolutely. Great point. I mean, the safeties hold back now. Catches that are made 20 yards down the field 5 years ago aren't made because some safety launches himself into the receiver, but they're afraid that they're going to get hit with penalties. And you know what? The one thing that everybody's got this safety thing, and quite frankly, I think the fan base is sick and tired of it. We treat it like this. If the guy's hurt, get him off the field, get somebody else in there. I mean, you hate to look at it that way, but that's what the fans want to see. They want to see their best players out there. Lovie Smith did leave himself open for criticism on this, but I think it will quiet down, and they got to get ready for the next game, whether it's going to be Campbell or Cutler.
Yeah, and the next game is in San Francisco, and it's Alex Smith got hit.
Yeah, I mean, you had
a week of concussions.
It was a week of concussions, and then Ben Roethlisberger last night has a sprained shoulder. So there was 4 quarterbacks that went down. It was Vic, Alex Smith, Cutler with the concussions, and hey, you may have both starting quarterbacks out of the game this coming week, which I think then the score might be 3-0. I mean, you didn't think you saw scoring last week, Amy. This game here, without the starting quarterbacks and 2 high-powered defenses, I think you may see a real low-scoring game.
Yeah, and I know Sunday's game was messy and it was nasty, and
it
was hard for the fans to be there. We weren't even playing the game.
Right. It was.
It's football.
But why did they play so horribly? I mean,
well, you know what they were doing? Look, it's a game where both sides get a paycheck. And these guys are all professionals, and it was one of those games that you just were leery of. And, they've been rolling 4, 5, 6 in a row. They're not the 85 Bears. They play great defense. They got a lot of turnovers, but the bottom line is hanging on to the football. They lost that game because they had not been turning over the ball, and they had been getting turnovers. This time it blew up in their face, and the turnovers ended up the damaging ones happening to the Bears. Yet they were still in the game. I love them still. I think they lost like the 49ers did, like the Falcons did, like the Giants did, like the Eagles did. I mean, it was a Sunday where the top teams lost.
All right, thanks, Mike.
All right, guys.